Hi, happy Tuesday, and welcome to Madeline's Life Management. Today I'm going to be talking about waking up early. So the first thing to do is set your alarm for the exact time you would like to wake up. And why I say the exact time and not like 10 minutes early so you can hit the snooze is because for myself, when I hit the snooze, instead of waking up 10 or 5 minutes later, I'll wake up an hour later, just before I have to go. But on those days, my alarm goes off and I jump out of bed and I start going, I wake up and I don't end up sleeping in more than I would like to. And honestly, I have a way better day because my day starts off with self-control and reaching goals. I'm proving to myself I can do something as small as it is. And it starts me off on a positive note. I do my morning routine. I have some extra margin time to read a book or write things down, and my whole day goes better when I just wake up right when my alarm goes off. On the note of jumping out of bed is setting my alarm all the way across the room. All the way, all 5 steps across the room. And that way when it goes off, I physically have to get out of bed to go turn it off. So there's not really the option of rolling over and hitting snooze and rolling back. Have something to look forward to in the morning. For me, it's always my coffee. I get this special coffee that is, I remember I was in Hy-Vee and I walked past and they were giving samples and I was like, oh no, I have my morning coffee. I use Dewey Egbert, but I was with Blake and she had little samples and she was like, this is light roast and that's the highest level of caffeine. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll try it. I could use a little pick-me-up. And I walk by, I grab one, I drink it and I throw it away and it was so good. I slowly back the cart up and grab one off her table and put it in my cart and keep going because I just told her, oh, I have my coffee, Dewey Egberts, and she's like, just try some. So yeah, that was a little pride comes before fall, but it was a great fall and a yummy, delicious fall that I've been into for the last couple of years. Blake from the other room just said, I don't think you can describe coffee as yummy and delicious. He's not a fan, but I'm okay with that because more coffee for me.
What? Hey.
I can also, this coffee that I drink, we can only get at the Hy-Vee in Lincoln. We can't get it at the Hy-Vee here in Omaha. So Blake, whenever he goes, if he ever goes to Lincoln, he'll always stop by Hy-Vee and bring back this coffee, which I'm an acts of service and a gifts person. So both of those things just mean the world to me and make me feel so loved. So every time so I get up and I have coffee to look forward to. Sometimes on Saturdays and Sundays, I'll get up and I'll look forward to whatever breakfast I'm making. Before church on Sundays, Blake and I like to have some breakfast so that we're not, like, our tummies aren't growling during the service. So that's a little something you can look forward to. Or for me, when I put my makeup on, I'll watch some of my favorite YouTubers. And so that's another thing I get to look forward to in the morning. Another thing I am religious about doing is having everything ready before I go to sleep for the next day. So my clothes are already laid out and ready to go. My bags are packed for work. I have my coffee thermoses. I have my thermoses with their lids off right by the coffee maker. I have the water in the coffee maker. I have the coffee grounds in the coffee maker. So in the morning, I just have to put it in and pour. I also pack Blake's lunch the night before and stick it in the fridge. So all I have to do is take it out of the fridge and stick it in front of the door so he doesn't forget. Yeah, I like having everything ready to go so I have a really peaceful morning and I don't have to make any big decisions like, what am I gonna wear? So another thing Blake and I do is we sleep in the freezing cold, which is really good for your body. And it's also great because you snuggle under the covers and you feel so warm and cozy. But in the morning, it's really hard to get out of this cozy bed into the freezing cold. So one thing I do that really, really works is that I have slippers and my robe right by my bed. Blake got me these comfy slippers to jump into, and I have the most plush robe in the entire world that is so warm and wonderful. So I put this on in the morning and I don't even want to get back. No, that's a lie. I do want to get back in bed, but I don't. And I don't have the excuse of, oh, I'm just so cold. Not an excuse, because I'm in my wonderful, warm, delightful, cozy robe. I'm just gonna keep this in my lap now. It's really cozy. Another thing I do is I make my bed. As you guys know, you've seen my morning routine. I make my bed so that I don't want to get back into it. So once it's all pretty and made, you don't want to get in and mess it up. You know, what if you're having company over later that day? And I like to get back on my bed and read. So I don't want to get into it and mess it up and have to make it again before I read. Another thing that's really important for me is going to bed early so that I still get a full 8 hours of sleep when I'm waking up early. So go to bed and wake up early, but it's really important to get that 8 hours of sleep. So waking up early and going to bed early so that you're not really tired, you're just up and ready to go. Another thing that I do is I put screens away. If I have my phone in front of me, I'm not going to bed. So what I do if I get into bed but I'm still not tired is I read a book. So I always have book options by my bed, and not only do I feel like I'm like enjoying a story, but it also kind of makes me feel more tired, and sometimes I think about different ways I would alter, if it's like a story, ways I would alter the story if I were in it. And then when I think about that, I go to sleep kind of dreaming about that. If I ever can't fall asleep, a technique I use is putting myself in a scenario that's calming and unrealistic, because if I'm in a realistic scenario, the cortisol levels in my body will rise and I will become stressed. You know, when you can't stop thinking about something that's happened and how you do it differently. Come up with a scenario that is so out of this world that it's just that you don't get stress even from stressful situations in that environment. I've talked about how to wake up early. Now I'm going to talk about the benefits of waking up early. So that's what we want to know. We want to know, okay, I have the tools I need to wake up early. Now, why should I do that? For one, your neurons are at their most efficient in the morning. That's why when you get in your car and you turn the radio on, it seems so loud and you have to turn it down. And then at night, as you become more and more tired, you have to turn the volume up. Your neurons are just more efficient in the morning. You can hear everything better, you're sharper. So with that, your willpower is at a peak in the morning and slowly goes down. If you have things to do, if you have things to get done, you will be more likely to do it in the morning when you're like, okay, I need to do this, that, and the other, instead of at night when you get home and you're like, I just want to have some cake and watch a show. I've seen willpower kind of described as a battery where, you know, you have this full battery when you wake up, and then slowly throughout the days when you've had to use more and more and more, it depletes until that's why at the end of the day, I always had trouble with binge eating at night, like really, really late, like 12 o'clock. And so I go to bed at 10:30 now or 10, and I don't have that problem anymore. Waking up early, having a morning routine allows for margin time, and that is time that is so valuable to me. Especially as an introvert, I need that quiet time just to myself to be excited to be with people. When I have margin time in the morning, it allows me to have that introvert time of reading a book, drinking my coffee, to really get excited about the day and to start off on a really good note. If I'm running out the door, I'm kind of hazy and I'm like, oh my goodness, and a little stressed out, like what do I even have to do today? But if I have time to write out my plan for the day and write out what I'm gonna get done, what I'm gonna do, even what I'm gonna do with my free time for fun, I just have a much more productive and enjoyable day altogether. There was a study that asked people when their most enjoyable times of the day were and when their least enjoyable times of the day were. And their most enjoyable times were when they were doing intentional things, and their least enjoyable times were when they were in transit, when they were moving from one place to the other. Those times that didn't have clear intentions. And so what I've started doing is writing out clear intentions for those times. So when I'm in the car, I'm listening to a podcast. I love learning, and so I'm learning about a new subject. I'm invested in something. If I'm going to the doctor and I have a wait time before then, I'll bring a book and read a book. So I want to turn those times that people have stated are their least enjoyable times of the day. Another thing about the morning is it's a fresh start. It's that time in which you can set goals, review goals, get creative. You know, you have this bubble, this window of time that's yours when your brain is at its peak efficiency, when you have that coffee in your hand, when you just woke up. You know, if yesterday didn't really go the way you'd planned, today is a new day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.